Welcome to One Little Spice, the Disney food podcast that isn't afraid to send you into the taste lab.
Welcome to this episode of Extra Spice. I'm Julie.
And I'm Amy.
And today we are joined by Danny from the Healthy Disney podcast. As summer approaches, we wanted to take the time to share with you some ways to enjoy Disney if you're trying to stay healthy. Danny has a fitness podcast and also just recently launched her second show, the Healthy Disney podcast. And besides her podcasting, she has also recently published a new book called Healthy Disney that is now available, and one lucky winner
One lucky winner.
One lucky listener will have an opportunity to win a copy. And let us just tell you, this is a book you definitely want to read. There is so much great information. So welcome, Danny. It is so great to have you with us today.
Thank you so much, both of you, for having me. I'm so excited. I mean, I feel like I know y'all really well since we've already recorded for Mike podcast, and I feel like, I don't know, we have this bond over Disney, so we're like BFFs forever.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Definitely. I feel the same way. Even like from the first time we connected and like answered the phone, and I was like, oh my God, I feel like I know you, listening to like your podcast too.
I know. I love it. I feel like y'all are in the car with me when I have your podcast on when I'm like driving around town. It's great.
That's
Julie
awesome.
tells me about you. Amy, I met this really awesome woman, or I talked with this really awesome woman, and I'm just like, okay, great. She's like, this is so awesome.
Positive reviews.
I was like, listen to her podcast. Here's a copy of her book. She's amazing.
Yes, I read the whole book. I love it.
Yay! Good. I would not have been. Wait, how do I word that? I would have been sad if you didn't make it to the end.
I mean, there aren't many books I make it to the end to. I try reading new books, and then I always revert back to Harry Potter, but I did really enjoy your book.
Oh my gosh, like, you can't read Harry Potter enough times. Let's just be real.
Thank you. Exactly. All right, so we want to start with learning a little bit about your podcasts. So we can start with your fitness show first. So tell us a little bit about the podcast and what made you start your fitness podcast.
Sure. So it's called the Fitness Empowerment Podcast. It has been up and running for, it's close to a year and a half now. I started it in November of 2017. That's crazy. Okay. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, I've done about 1 to 2 episodes a week. I want to say I'm on episode 122 will be the next one. And the reason I started it was really because I wanted a challenge, and I had been listening to a lot of podcasts, and it was fun. It was a really great medium to listen to lots of resources and just learn a lot really quickly. So instead of kind of having Instagram, which can be like a mini blog, I guess you could put it, it was a way to put out more information, more long form content. And I dabbled in YouTube a little bit, but I just really connected with the audio in different podcasts. So I was like, you know what? I have a lot of information. I have a lot of, messages that I want to put out there. And I think this will be a good way for me to do that, especially because I like to ramble, and I have a lot of background in interviewing. So for me, it came naturally because I had a background in it through the military, and I guess a little bit due to my sorority life. I was really good at
cool.
talking to people. So it just seemed natural, and it was fun, and it's so much more engaging to bring other people on a show and talk to them about their trials and their struggles and their triumphs and their stories, instead of only talking about my story. I mean, yes, I guess a picture can tell 1,000 words, but you get so much more if you really want to connect with somebody and learn more out of a podcast. So
yeah, and I feel like, especially when you hear from them live, you get that raw emotion and the actual feelings and their telling of the story rather than just you reading it off of paper. As much as I love reading everybody's fan favorite foods, it's really nice to actually talk to you guys and hear your stories from you.
Oh, absolutely. It's just, it's fun, it's real, it's raw, it's in the moment. You can only plan for so much. And what I love about talking to people is, yes, we come up with a list of questions and things that we really want to know and that we want to share, but there's squirrel moments and the tangents, and you just have to let it roll. And that's where you really get the greatest content, is when you kind of leave that space to let the miracles flow through. So it's just really fun, and it's probably my favorite way to just put out content to people.
That's really awesome. And how are your episodes structured for the fitness podcast?
Yeah, about every other episode, I try to do a solo and then an interview podcast. So it's got something, it has something to do with fitness, food, and travel. Those are kind of my three major topics, and it could be anything. I mean, I've had my clients on to share their testimony and their struggles because they give a different perspective from me. And I've had other fitness professionals on. My mother-in-law has multiple sclerosis, so she's been on and shared her story and given her perspective on things. I've had doctors on the show. I've had just a multitude of different people on to share something different about fitness or food or travel. And then when it comes to kind of the solo episodes, a lot of times it's something that has come up in my week, or I've taken note of it, something maybe that happened with a client that I felt like, you know what, this was a really great lesson learned. This is something that's been in the news. Like, this is a little bit of science or a little bit of research that I need to share the context of it with people so they understand it's not just the headline that you see on a magazine. What was the research actually trying to say? Who was the target population that this was meant for? And I try to break it down so that it's easily digestible, because it's hard to read and understand research, and I'm not an expert at it, but I feel like if I can take it and break it down a little bit more, then people can understand how to best put that into their lifestyle. Because science and research, if it doesn't make sense and it's a foreign language to you, then you're not going to make those changes, and it has to be broken down into those bite-sized changes so that you can put them into your habits and into your lifestyle and make those small steps into long-term sustainable habits.
Yeah, and I feel like it makes it a lot easier to start with like smaller goals and have them build, like, working out once a day or eating healthy, starting meal prep, things like that. And not everybody has the time to research all these different methods on how to stay healthy and things like that. So I think it's really awesome that you kind of do that research for people and are able to share your knowledge with everybody else.
Oh, thank you. It's fun. I wish I had more time to devote to it, because there's just never enough time, and there's an endless amount of content. So
tell me about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then how did your fitness podcast let me try that one again. Amy, are you still there?
Yeah, and sorry
Okay.
for the face I was making originally. I was briefly
I
glued
was
to my ear.
like laughing hysterically because I knew exactly what was happening, but I didn't want to interrupt you, so I'm like silently
okay, that's
laughing
what
at
I
Amy
thought.
over
Was
here.
I was briefly.
No, that was definitely
my
what was
headphone
happening.
was glued to my ear briefly. I got it separated. We're good. We're happy.
Oh my
So
gosh.
some of your answer I'll be listening to the first time when I listen to this podcast.
Oh, okay.
I'm like,
Oh,
Oh gosh.
sorry. I
I
actually,
think it's time to invest in a new set of
yeah,
headphones for you, Amy.
clearly.
Oh.
All right, back to the episode. All right, so how did your fitness podcast transition into producing a healthy Disney podcast too?
That's such a great question. I had thought originally that the Fitness Empowerment Podcast was going to be able to encompass a lot of the travel aspect of things that I do. And I started, well, let me back this up. So we mentioned the book a little bit earlier, and that's kind of part of the transition. Is about a year and a half ago, I had a lot of clients that were, well, either I knew them in the gym or they were clients of mine, and they were going on vacation and they were coming back and they were like, Danny, I totally fell off the bandwagon. I gained 10 pounds. I ate everything in sight. I totally binged. And I'm like, well, where did you go? And they're like, well, we went to Disney. And I'm like, okay, we can handle this. Like, Danny loves Disney. We go at least, once a year. My mom goes at least 5 times a year. No big deal. We're all a little jealous. But I kind of thought, okay, I have a lot of clients traveling to Disney, so why don't I start making some content around Disney? And I'd wanted to put together some sort of a nutrition book, and I didn't know how I wanted to put that together. And when it was a repeat pattern that people needed assistance with setting themselves up for success going to Disney and not totally overindulging, that's the direction I wanted to go with the book. And I went 3 times to Disney last year. And so I just kind of gathered content as I was there. And because I was there, I was putting out podcast episodes on my fitness empowerment podcast that were focused on Disney. And I think I got so into it and so excited that out of my 122 episodes over there, about 35 of them ended up being Disney focused. So
oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? This is, not everybody loves Disney in the same way that I do, but there are a lot of Disney lovers that are focused on that fitness and food aspect. So maybe I need to niche down a little bit more and let people know on the Fitness Empowerment Podcast, if they love Disney, then they can go over here for just the Disney content. But if they don't, then they don't have to feel like it's not the right podcast for them because I'm kind of transitioning. So I wanted to make sure I had a space for both focuses without pushing anybody away that didn't love both focuses.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a really smart move.
Thanks. I probably should have done it like when I started, but we all learn.
Hey, that's how we learn, and we're on to year 2 of our podcast, and we had to switch over to bi-weekly episodes because there's only so many times that we can get into the park, and we really only want to talk about restaurants where we've actually experienced. So we stretched it out to bi-weekly so we can get 2 years out of the restaurants that we have currently, and that way over the next 2 years we can build up more for the future. And that's why we started that 3rd episode with our guests, which I personally think is awesome because we get to hear another voice. And, the first episode was traveling from outside the country, and, from you, it's kind of the healthy fitness side of things. And next month it's going to be, hearing from a cast member and how they enjoy Disney and are still able to enjoy Disney. So it's really cool being able to hear from you guys too and get a little bit of a different view and feel of the Disney parks, because as much as I love listening to myself talk, it's really fun to have a different aspect of things.
Yeah. I would definitely agree with that. We can only go to Disney so much. We gotta be very careful with our content.
I mean, Amy says only so much, but I've successfully planned like 3 more Disney trips this year.
Yeah, but that's you, so I only have the one.
All right, so now it is time to get into all things Disney.
Yay!
So, there we go. So first, we want to hear your Disney story. How did you first fall in love with Disney?
I feel like I was brought up on Disney, so I don't know that there was ever a moment where I was like, oh, this is the best place ever. It was just always the best place ever. Like, it was never not the best place ever.
Oh, yes, I definitely understand that.
Yeah, so my first trip, I was 6 months old. I don't remember that trip, but my mom went when she was a kid, and so she made sure that when we were little, we went just about every year, sometimes twice a year. So it's just always been a part of our summer family vacations. I was homeschooled from 5th through 8th grade, so we would go to Disney when everybody else was not able to. And so we had the opportunity to travel, I think, more than some other kids who were not homeschooled. So it was my mom's favorite place, so it became our favorite place, and we're not arguing with her.
You're clearly from a Disney family then.
Yes, strangely though, my dad does not love Disney. I'm trying very hard to convince him that he will travel with us there and then stay in the hotel all day. We're fine with that, but I would love for him to love Disney, so we're working on him.
That actually sounds like my sister, because I keep trying to get a family vacation down to Disney, and she's like, no, we could go anywhere else on vacation. But now that she's had my nephew, I feel like she's going to be a little bit more receptive to traveling to Disney.
I bet so, yeah.
So you said your first trip was when you were about 6 months old, and that you clearly don't remember it. What is your first Disney memory of the parks? The first memory you actually remember?
This is such a hard question because I could probably tell you one memory and then remember another one, but gosh, I really don't know. I do remember very clearly that I had a broken foot once, and I want to say I was probably 10 or 11. And I remember because I was a gymnast at the time, and I had felt really guilty. I think it was in the summer. I had felt really guilty about going to Disney, and then I ended up cracking my heel. And after that, my coach was like, okay, well, you can't be here anyway. Enjoy Disney. And it was an awesome trip because this was before, well, this was when like fast passes as the tickets I think had just come around, so the magic bands were, not a thing.
Yeah.
They weren't even a thought. And so we just skipped every line, got to the front of every line, got to ride everything multiple times. And so I do remember that. And we just got a lot of extra perks because I was in a wheelchair because I had a boot on my foot. So that was great.
Sounds like a pretty epic first memory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Indeed. What is your favorite Disney park?
Right now, it's definitely Animal Kingdom.
I mean, we got.
Yeah,
explore.
I was leaving a moment there for you to say because, and I'm
because
Animal Kingdom. Period. Stop.
No.
Yeah, and it's pretty well tied. Like, Animal Kingdom's right above Epcot for me because I just love all of the food and wine all the festivals there. But right now, at least in the past probably year or two, I've transitioned out of being in the military and out of a very stressful environment and starting up my own business. So I feel like being out in nature has really been a de-stressor for me, and so I love that being in Animal Kingdom, I feel like I'm surrounded by the trees and the wildlife, and it's like being at a zoo. It's very calming, and I do love the rides. I don't even think I've experienced a lot of the newer food restaurants there, but just the overall atmosphere of Animal Kingdom, I feel like it just takes me away from the rest of the world, and it's really enjoyable for me right now. That could change, but right now it's definitely Animal Kingdom.
Oh yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
allowed to change.
Oh, good.
When you get a chance, we did eat at Tiffin's on our last trip. If you get a chance to eat there, like that should be your next Animal Kingdom restaurant because it was out of this world.
Oh, I can't wait. There's
Yeah,
not enough
really,
time.
really was excellent. You clearly have a lot to choose from, but what do you think is your ultimate favorite Disney memory?
Oh gosh. I'm so torn on this. My husband and I took our honeymoon to Disney. And we were sick the majority of our honeymoon. Like, we got there after the first day, we caught colds. However, we stayed in, I think, the Wyndham by Disney Springs for the first week, and then we went to Wilderness Lodge for the last 2 days. And when we got there, we had just booked a regular room, and because we were on our honeymoon, they upgraded us to a suite. So walking in that door and seeing like the huge suite, I mean, the living room, the full kitchen, the laundry, the jacuzzi tub and the shower and the huge bedroom and the balcony, it was just like, this is really cool. I can't believe we just got this upgrade. So that was a very, very cool Disney moment. And I say I'm conflicted because I got food poisoning the next day.
Oh.
So it was like such a blessing that we had a really nice room to stay in, and our flight got delayed coming back home. So like I had to stay an extra day in a really nice room. Thankfully, it was really nice because I felt really crappy. But like having that upgrade in the Disney hospitality was really, really nice. Like, thank goodness for that, or it would have been a really, really awful experience. So
It's like, how can it be awful with the jacuzzi tub?
I know. It, like, without food poisoning, it would have been a million times better.
Oh, yeah,
but thank goodness that,
Well, at least...
I would hope it would be
Yes.
better without
At
food
least
poisoning.
the food poisoning was at the end of the trip and not
I
the
know.
beginning of the trip.
Yeah, it's true.
I feel like food poisoning is a great transition into our next
Oh,
segment.
yes.
Right? But that shows you how much I love Disney and Disney food. Like, food poisoning at Disney did not deter me from going back. Like, it just happens, and it just happened to happen. Honestly, I think I was just so stressed out about life and business and the transition that when I finally had a break, my body was like, okay, cool, you have a break, it's time to get sick. So,
Yeah.
Wow, everybody's learning
All right.
a whole lot about Danny today that they did not need to learn.
And now, what everyone's here for, the food.
Yeah.
Great transition, guys. Great job.
Yeah, okay, it's real life.
All right, so we all know the saying, calories don't count in Disney.
Yeah.
But there are people who still try to eat as healthy as possible on their vacation. And, this is why you initially came up with your podcast, because you wanted to help people stay on track when they're on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the number one tip for people who are dieting or just trying to be healthy when they vacation in Disney?
Absolutely. Such a great question. And I don't care how many times you tell yourself calories don't count in Disney or Universal or wherever you're going. Unfortunately, your body is still going to count them as calories coming in. So we have to look at that realistically if you have goals. And I would say the biggest tip for somebody who is really focused on the health aspect and reaching their goals and staying accountable to their goals is acknowledging first that you have goals and that they're important to you and understanding the why. So if you're just winging it and you don't care, then yeah, of course you're not going to reach your goals because you've not acknowledged them, you haven't told them to somebody, you haven't written them down. So as it's actually, it's hard. It is. It's really hard to stay on track if you don't have a plan. So recognizing first, like, hey, I'm going to Disney, I'm traveling. Do I have goals that I want to stay accountable to? If the answer is yes, then that brings you into the next layers of, okay, what are those goals? Why are they important to me? How am I going to accomplish them? What is my strategy? So first, just recognizing and setting yourself up with the right mindset takes you a long way.
Yeah, definitely, because I think if you have the goal set in place before you go and you have the reason why you're trying to do this for yourself, those temptations are going to be easier to overcome.
Exactly. And once you've made the decision that you have goals and that you want to stay accountable to them, that next step is then deciding how you want to be held accountable. Who are you going with? How can you share your goals with them? If you're with a bunch of other friends and family members that have no idea that you want to stay accountable to goals, they can't help you to stay accountable. They can't say, hey, were you going to the gym this morning? Did you want to make sure that you had a vegetable on your plate today? Did you want to make sure that you limited yourself to one dessert or to one alcoholic beverage? And they can't help you because if they don't know you have goals, then what could you expect from them other than what's on their agenda? So if their agenda,
or hey, try this Mickey pretzel with all this cheese sauce. Here, eat a churro.
Exactly. If they have totally separate goals from you and that's the train that they're on and you don't tell them that you're on a different path, then all they can do is share what they're doing with you. So it goes both ways, but a lot of it is simply recognizing that you have goals and then sharing that with the others who are going with you.
Which is always good to do anytime you're traveling with other people, whether it's to Disney or otherwise, is, food or otherwise, health, fitness or otherwise. It's just share what you're expecting to do or get out of the trip. That way you don't have two completely different trips planned in your head or in each of your heads.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's the same way that you would need to consult, I suppose you would say, with the rest of your party when it comes to making your fast passes. Like, if you all want to go in different directions, that's fine, but you need to tell each other about it so that the person making those reservations doesn't schedule everybody for the rides that they want to do.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And that's the great thing about Disney too. If Joe and Larry want to go on Spaceship Earth and Paul and Sally want to go on Journey into Imagination, you can make separate fast passes for the same time and then meet up after.
Definitely. And you can do the same thing with food, depending on if you want to sit at the same table service reservation or if you guys want to just, everybody goes their separate ways for a quick lunch snack and we all have a different quick service, but then we can sit down and actually eat our quick service in the same location. So there's lots of different ways you can go about it, but communication is key.
Yeah, and in was it April? No, it was March. We kind of focused on that, like the places in each park where you can kind of go where everybody can get their own separate meal, but still all sit together and things like that. So we kind of focused on that too. So I think that's definitely helpful to have that information, to know that you don't all have to eat at the exact same place.
It's a very shocking concept to people when you spring it on them, like in Disney. It'd be like, hey, well, you wanted to go here and we're going to be passing this place. I'm going to grab something on the way and meet you over. They're like, wait, what? What's happening? Wait.
Everything is going to be okay.
I know. It's just like, it's going to be fine. I'm just getting this food instead.
Trust me, I've done this before. I have a Disney food podcast. I know things.
I knew all the
Great.
things.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I mean, you're totally right. It is a foreign concept, and really, majority of my Disney experience, with the exception of the past year and a half to 2 years, our family, my mother, never focused on the food. It was rides, rides, rides. How are we going to do rope drop to fireworks and hit everything? So really, I didn't know that Disney had anything outside of kind of quote unquote fair food until it was necessary for me, until I knew that I was going to go for my honeymoon, and then I was gonna be dieting for a bodybuilding show and didn't want to miss out on spending time with my family and friends there. So I was like, you know what, if other people are going to go to Disney and I don't want to miss out on this trip, I have to find a way to make it work. That became a non-negotiable. It was, I was determined. I brought food with me, but I also ate in the parks, and so I had to figure that out ahead of time, how I was going to meet those goals. I wasn't like I was just going to show up and figure it out when I got there. You have to plan ahead of time, for sure.
Definitely. And you have this incredible book called Healthy Disney, which can help others plan. What inspired you to write it?
Absolutely. I mentioned a little bit earlier, a lot of it was clients. It was everybody kept coming back and saying, oh, you like Disney? I went to Disney. I fell off the bandwagon. I wasn't able to stick to my nutrition, or I didn't work out for a week and I felt really guilty. And so it was a recurring theme. It just kept coming back to the same focus. And I thought, you know what? I could do this. Like, I have got to break this down because it's definitely possible. And if I can do it, I know other people can do it. And I had started off thinking I would write this one giant book on all things Disney. It was going to cover everything. And I very quickly realized into my research that one book was not going to cover all of Disney. So it was going to be everything, and then it was going to be, let me do one on all the parks, and then it was, nope, you know what, we are just going to make a planning guide, and then subsequent volumes are going to be focused on individual parks. There's just so much to it, and I want it to be not so overwhelming. I want it to be tangible and, bite-sized enough to where it's not overwhelming when someone looks through it. I think that's the beauty of the first volume being your planning phase, is it doesn't matter what parks you're going to. If you want the introductory information on how to plan the trip and set yourself up for success, you can do that with just the planning guide. And then after that, if you love that, if you find that it helps you and you want more, then over the next few years, you'll be able to say, okay, we can specifically target a specific park. So there's going to be a lot more information, but it's going to take some time to pull through. Unfortunately, writing a book doesn't make you a full income overnight, so it's gonna I wish it's gonna take some time to get down there. I live in Louisiana, so I'm not in Disney all the time. I try to get down a couple of times a year, but I don't.
Well, maybe you can come stay with me when I live there.
I would love to come stay with you. That would be so much fun.
Oh, we would have so much fun. All right. So, like I said earlier, we are giving away a copy of this book to one of our lucky listeners. And just tell us a little bit about what people can expect when they are reading it.
Absolutely.
Give us a little teaser.
Yes, a little teaser. So something that I found has really helped me along my journey, whether it's personal development or any kind of book that I'm reading, I find that I'm more engaged when I have a pen with me when I'm reading. I'm a big annotator, so I started to see that the books I enjoyed reading more and was more engaged with were the ones that had activities in them. So this is definitely a workbook, an activity book. It's not something that you're just going to read and absorb everything. I mean, this is like, you need to sit down and put in the work ahead of time so that when you get to Disney, it's easy. So there's a lot of information on mindset and making sure that you have your mind set up for the right approach. And there's a lot of activities that go along with that. A lot of them focus on what's your current fitness routine? What are you currently doing that is working for you? What are your goals? Have you written them down? What's your current nutrition plan look like? Are you currently on a diet? How often are you eating? What times of day are you eating? And that way you can then take what you're currently doing and apply that to how you want to schedule your days when you are in Disney. For example, a lot of people right now like to practice some form of intermittent fasting, And a common form of that is the 16-8, where you're eating for 8 hours a day and then you're fasting for 16 hours a day. So if you...
Yeah, that goes away when I'm in Disney. I do 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., but in Disney, I'm just like, ugh, I just need to eat healthy and work out while I'm there. But yeah, intermittent fasting does not work for me in Disney.
But that's okay though. Like, as long as you recognize that you're shifting from that, I think that's fine. But if you wanted to stick to that and you usually don't break your fast until noon, then I wouldn't recommend scheduling yourself for an 8 a.m. character breakfast. You're not going to feel well, you know? Your body's used to eating in that particular 8-hour window. So throwing it off and eating from 8 a.m. to midnight, your digestive system is going to feel terrible. And you want your trip to be enjoyable, right? Like, you don't want to be so overindulgent in the first day or two that you're there that the rest of your week is really uncomfortable. So as much fun as it is to indulge in the moment, you want to be able to think a little bit further past that. And how is your overindulgence potentially going to affect the rest of your trip for you and for everyone else around you? Are you going to be so lethargic after you overindulge for 2 full days that nobody wants to be around you because you're exhausted and you just want to go back to your hotel room? I don't know the answers to these questions because they're going to be individual to you. But those are the kinds of things that you have to work through. And then you have to make the decision of what your approach is going to be and be okay with your decision. A lot of it is recognizing, where am I going to be indulgent? Where am I going to keep part of my regular routine in? And how am I going to do, find the happy medium so that I am not guilty when I come back from my trip? It's being okay with the decisions that you make and knowing how to set yourself up for success when you come home. Have you scheduled yourself for group workouts or a personal training routine or a set of like a meal prep company meal? Is that set up to ship so that it arrives at your home so that you have something healthy, you have a routine set up for when you get home to get back on track? So there's a lot of activities in there that really walk you through the before, the during, and then I need to update the book to include the after, but that's a big part of it as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's so awesome.
Thanks. I love it.
Sounds like a lot of work went into this book, and it was so much fun to read and really cool.
Aww.
I definitely want to try out the planning thing for it's not going to happen. But I'd like to attempt. We have, I think, 18 restaurants planned out in the 6 days that we're there. So
wow.
Yeah.
I mean, three a day.
This is like our last big trip for a little while, so we needed to get all the restaurants in to carry us through year 2.
Yes,
so.
that is literally the reason behind the number of restaurants.
Well, I guess to carry us through year 3.
Yes. Well, yeah, but you know what I mean.
Oh heck yeah, and that's also that's okay, but you don't have to eat everything at every restaurant. Like the beauty of having the both of you there is you can order multiple things and try a little bit of everything without feeling like you need to eat everything on the plate. And you can totally ask for smaller portion sizes at different restaurants. So you still get to taste stuff, but then you don't feel bad about wasting food because you've already asked for a smaller portion. So that's something you can totally do.
That's actually really awesome. I didn't realize you could do that, but that is really, really smart, especially because we want to try a lot of food and our stomachs are only so big.
Yes, Julie's eyes are much, much bigger than her stomach.
I mean,
honestly, I want to say that's not true. My eyes and my stomach are pretty much the same size. It's just regulating and not eating that much.
Like, do we want to talk about the appetizer sampler at Bongo's that you just had to have?
Yeah, and I ate all
eventually,
of it.
3 days.
Do you know later. No, I ate all of that. Do you know what I didn't eat? My ribs. But I ate the appetizers and the dessert.
I mean,
that
tres
leches cake was amazing. I also apparently had a lot to drink, and
yes.
so that curbed my hunger. I don't remember this. I don't remember it happening.
Yeah, I was there. I am the main witness. It did.
Apparently it happened. I remember dancing with one of the dancers. I remember them singing happy birthday. I remember them singing happy birthday to me.
They did sing happy birthday to you.
So, what can we expect from Volume 2?
Volume 2. It has had a tiny setback, however. Yeah, I know. I was supposed to be at Disney last week, and I had to make some business decisions that took a different direction, unfortunately. So I had planned to go to the boardwalk, and similar to y'all's 18 restaurants in 6 days, I had, I think, 15 restaurants in 5 days planned out so that I would hit everything on the boardwalk. And so that has been pushed back. So we're looking at fall now for that. But volume 2.
Oh my gosh, when in the fall?
Oh no, don't have a date yet. I know my mom's going in October, so I'm trying to piggyback off her trip.
Perhaps, October 28th to November 3rd, somewhere in that.
I'm hoping. However, I also know my husband's got a 2-week-long work trip.
You could just come to Disney, leave your husband home.
Yeah, I can't. Well, no, and he can totally stay home. He doesn't have the desire to be at Disney quite as often as I do, but he'll be out of town that time frame. But that's the time frame I had wanted to go in October because I wanted to hit the Mickey's. Hang on a second, Django. Oi, come here. Django, come here. Couche. Our Belgian Malinois speaks French. Couche.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he's such a something else.
A diva?
That's one word for him. He is special. We could talk about him in other words on your other podcast.
Oh, let's do it.
He's special. He's sweet, but he is special.
Also, no one knows about that podcast yet. I wasn't going to talk about it till the end.
Well, you can cut it out. Yeah, anyway, so I wanted to catch the end of Not So Scary. No, is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, end of Not So Scary Halloween and beginning of the Very Merry Christmas Party. And that would have been like the 2-week span to do it in. So volume 2 will be focused on the boardwalk. That plan is still happening. It's just been postponed to the fall.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's a lot to do on the boardwalk, and there are a lot of places where you can accidentally fall off that healthy wagon, like Ample Hills Bakery, Creamery, whatever the ice cream place. Oh, yeah.
I'm excited. But the plus about the boardwalk is there's 2 gym facilities there. There's the Muscles and Bustles, which is part of the Boardwalk Inn, is my understanding. But there's also the Ship Shape workout facility and spa, and that is open to the public.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you don't have to stay at the beach and yacht club to use that facility, as long as you use it within like the normal public hours, which is probably something like 9 to 5 or 9 to 8, I don't know, whatever they are. But I've twice gone to Epcot or Hollywood Studios and left midday, like right after lunch, gotten in an hour workout, and then gone right back into the parks.
That's really awesome. So now, do you have to be staying on a Disney property or have a ticket to the park, or?
Well, to get into Epcot, you would have to have, or Hollywood Studios, you would have to have
No,
a ticket.
I know, but to work out, I mean.
No. I mean, maybe, but like, there's nobody watching the doors. And one of the cast members in the hotel did tell me, like, hey, it's open to the public, like, you're totally fine. So I think you probably should be staying either on Disney property or have a park ticket. But honestly, I can't imagine anybody saying anything or noticing, because think about it, how many times do you go and just have dinner or lunch at the boardwalk, or if you're just doing like resort hopping for the day or for the weekend, you don't necessarily need a park ticket to be able to do that. So as long as you're kind of doing it in good faith, I mean, if you live in Orlando and you're working out at the Ship Shape Spa every day, I mean, that's probably another story. Yeah, if
I think they're gonna notice.
To Disney and your hotel doesn't have a gym, and you think, you know what, I'd love to get like a midday little workout in after lunch, or I have 3 hours before my next fast pass, like that might be a good thing to go do, instead of saying, oh, I'm bored, let me go grab another snack, because I probably don't need that, you know?
Just maybe be inconspicuous.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like,
wear a different outfit every day, sunglasses one day, a hat
No,
the
I mean,
next.
just don't walk in and be like, oh, it's amazing that this is open to the public. Yeah, I just did my mom voice a little bit.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go around boasting about it in that way, but if you're being respectful and you're just popping in, it's not a busy area. So as long as you're popping in, doing your thing, and then getting back to your park day, like, very reasonable to jump in and utilize that facility.
Perfect. So on to the parks. That was an excellent transition. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Golf clap.
All right, so we're we're gonna go over your favorite healthy snack in each of the parks. We're gonna start with Magic Kingdom.
Okay, Magic Kingdom. I love that in Frontierland you can get a grilled chicken skewer on a stick. Well, I guess that makes sense. A skewer's on a stick, right?
A grilled chicken skewer on a stick.
Yes, skewer on a stick. I love that you can do that. So grilled chicken all the way. For me, if I'm like in need of a snack midday, I'm looking for some protein usually because I want something that's going to keep me satiated and help me keep my protein intake up.
It actually is very good. We had it the last trip when we also had the candied bacon on a stick, which
I actually have a picture of the trifecta, which was the corn dog, the grilled chicken skewer, and the candied bacon on a stick. Our go-to there at Westward Ho is what she's talking about, where you can get the chicken skewer is the candied bacon, so a little bit less healthy.
Just a little bit.
Just a tad.
But that was a really good chicken skewer, and it had a little bit of a heat to it. It had really good flavor. The chicken was so juicy, so that is definitely a good option.
Mm-hmm.
Just pretend that bacon on a stick's not there, and it's the best option. It's certainly the more healthy option.
Mm-hmm.
Get one of each, so you can be unhealthy and then healthy.
Split everything,
Yep.
right?
Exactly. Next, we'll go to Epcot.
Epcot. I should have thought this one more through.
Okay, so like this one's really hard because you could say literally anything from any of the festivals. So let's just stick to just Epcot. So it's there like all year round.
The time
Okay.
Epcot.
Sunshine Seasons has a lot of great snacks, and they have salads and they have grilled chicken in there too. Again, I'm looking for things that I'd rather indulge on a dessert later on, so I'm looking for snacks that are going to be a little bit healthier throughout my day so that I can feel better about having that dessert at night. So I really enjoy anything from Sunshine Seasons that's on that salad or some grilled chicken or something else that's going to be a little bit more nutrient dense. And that's Starbucks is always a go-to for me. So I know that I can get like my reduced fat turkey bacon egg white sandwich in a Starbucks. I can get my like an almond milk latte, and I can add my collagen peptides to it.
That's awesome.
So for me, a lot of the times I just bring my snacks with me, and then I'll indulge on that like table service, dinner and dessert later on. So a lot of my snacks, sometimes I bring in the parks. I bring in protein shakes as well. So
That's awesome. How do you keep your protein shakes cool?
well, I have a cooler backpack.
Okay.
So I've brought that with me, and then I've also so the protein shakes that I like, I've brought Premier protein shakes, or Orgain is another brand.
Mm-hmm.
The more organic brand of protein shakes. You can get them in the little containers from like Sam's by boxes of 12. But if I go up to a counter service and ask for a cup of ice, I can just pour my protein shake over the ice. So
okay.
It's not like I've shaken it up in the morning and brought it with me. It's disgusting, but not like that. So
That's all that I picture, in the hot Florida sun and just like trying to drink a hot protein shake just doesn't sound super appealing.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, that or bringing like some beef jerky or something like that.
Oh, yes.
I have brought hard-boiled eggs into the parks with me in my little cooler backpack. I have brought meals in with me so that I had healthier options throughout the day. But I mean, the parks are getting better about having the fruits and vegetables if you need to grab and go snack. I definitely wouldn't waste a snack credit on them by any means, but those options are there, so those are good too.
Yeah, and the great thing about Sunshine Seasons, too, is if you're healthy, but say someone else in your party isn't really concerned about eating healthy, there's so many options to choose from that going there, you're going to be able to find something for everybody.
Cupcakes, yeah. They have some pretty bomb diggity cupcakes.
Oh my gosh, yes.
They
But I mean,
do.
food-wise as well, they have some
Oh,
certainly more fattening food. But they also have a lot of the healthy options, and they have like the stir fries and the salads that you can build, and a lot of the proteins and things like that they have there, which is really great.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, next we are going over to MGM /
I love that you
Hollywood
guys- Yeah,
Studios / the
so-
entrance to Galaxy's Edge.
I love that y'all still call it MGM. I have to correct myself as well.
we don't even really correct ourselves when we say MGM.
Like
we
if
just
you
sort
don't
of
if you
also
don't know
stay Hollywood
it's
Studios.
MGM, then are you even a fan of Disney?
Right, that's
Yeah.
a good question. No judgment if you're not. It just means you're probably too young to know.
Yeah, that was
Exactly.
just a
We
joke,
first.
everyone.
So MGM or Hollywood Studios, like I said earlier, I haven't eaten at a ton of those restaurants, but I know that they have that, and forgive me, I don't even know the name of it, but the snack cart that has all of the fruits and vegetables.
Anaheim fruit stand.
Yes, the fruit stand. So that's a great spot to grab and go. and then the Starbucks. I mean, I'm telling you, I go straight to Starbucks.
Yeah, we actually at that Starbucks had a spinach and feta wrap that was really, really incredible and definitely on the healthy side, which was awesome because that morning I was like, I need food.
Yes. Yeah. And Starbucks just, I know it can get a lot of hate, but they have all the calories, all the nutrition facts, and it's consistent no matter where you go. So when you're looking for consistency and you don't know what's going to be in every other meal from restaurants, it's really nice that you could get that, stable snack or that stable coffee. You know exactly what's in it, exactly how much you're getting. So for me, that's always a go-to. When I get in the park, give me my coffee, and my little sandwich snack if I need it. And then I know I'm kind of set for a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And it's definitely healthier than having a McDonald's in the park.
Oh my gosh. Let's not even talk about McDonald's in the parks.
You could get fries as a snack credit.
Oh gosh.
Just kidding. This is healthy Disney, guys. McDonald's French fries are not healthy. All right. And then last but certainly not least, as it is your favorite right now, Animal Kingdom.
Yes, Animal Kingdom, again, right along there with Magic Kingdom. In the Harambe Market, you can get the grilled chicken skewer, and it's flavored a little differently from that more barbecue style one that you get in Magic Kingdom. But that's really good. The barbecue chicken, or just what I guess you would call it more of like an African infused, grilled chicken skewer, really good. I want to say it comes along with like a side of chickpeas and tomatoes and some other vegetables. It's listed, I think, as a counter service, but for me, it's like 2 to 3 ounces of protein, so that's a really great snack for me. So that's definitely my go-to.
Yeah, that one sounds delicious. We'll have to try that
Seriously,
at some
I
point.
love African flavors, and I know Amy does too, so we're definitely going to need to check that one out.
Heck yeah.
All right, so it is also okay to have a cheat day every once in a while, especially in Disney because there's so many amazing treats across the parks. What's your favorite indulgent in What? Let's try that again. What is your favorite indulgence in Disney?
Great question. And I like to approach, instead of having a cheat day, which is how I started off like my bodybuilding journey, is I ate really clean on a meal plan for 6.5 days out of the week, and then I had this cheat meal. And I've really evolved that into approaching it more as, hey, this is a treat day. I'm treating myself, but I'm not going crazy. So I'm not cheating on anything, because cheating can have a negative connotation to it. So I want to treat myself to some fun things here and there, but stay within some boundaries. So it comes down to the goals, right? So when I was training for my bodybuilding show, I didn't indulge a ton, but when I was there on my honeymoon, I indulged a little bit more. So it depends on what those goals are. I'd say for me right now, I'm trying to think of a favorite indulgence. I love to try new things, so I want to indulge in something usually that has chocolate, maybe peanut butter in it, and I need to have seen like a few good reviews on it. So there's a dessert at Skipper Canteen.
Ooh, is it the kungaloosh?
It is. It's totally the kungaloosh. As
It's
much
so
as
good.
I want to try new things, I would totally go back and have that again and again. It was so good.
The first time we went to Skipper's Canteen, we got the rice pudding that was actually super amazing as well. But we were told that we absolutely had to try the kungaloosh the next time we were there, and we were not disappointed. That was rich and decadent, but didn't feel too heavy at all. It was really delicious.
Portion size I thought was really nice. It wasn't like, going to TGI Fridays.
Here's
and
half a
getting
cheesecake.
Right? Like, it was a really nice portion size. I think I was there with 3 other adults, and we all had about 2 bites. It was great.
And it was just
perfect.
it's just so rich too that even only a couple of bites is still gonna satisfy that craving.
Yes, definitely.
All right, and the one meal or dessert that you have to have no matter how unhealthy.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if I have an answer for this one. I feel like I need to eat at more restaurants. Again, I feel like I want to have something new and different. I know there are just so many options. I want to the must have is like, I must have something new and different. I must try what's new here, or I'm going to miss out on it. It's like that FOMO,
Yep.
fear of missing out. Like, I need to try something new before it's not here anymore. So it'll have to be something new and different. Right now, it's probably most of the restaurants in Animal Kingdom because I haven't eaten at most of them yet. So
Yeah, it's really funny because Amy and I this trip, we sat down and we had this conversation and we were like, okay, so we know there are these restaurants that we really love that we generally go to every trip, but this time we really have to eat at no restaurant we've ever tried before,
Ah,
except
ahi tuna nachos aside.
the ahi tuna nachos at Yak and Yeti, because that's just that. I think that's our must no matter what. But it's actually still pretty healthy. I mean, fried wonton chips not so much, but
meh.
I actually saw that there were some people that ordered it without the chips, and sometimes we order with the chips on the side, but you can do it without the chips and ask for just extra of the vegetables that they add into it, like the slaw, and then it becomes a lot healthier, and you still get to enjoy the ahi tuna nachos.
That just sounds amazing.
Right? Just smother that with sriracha and dig in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually I have a really funny story about sriracha. So the other day, my dad was eating something like wicked unhealthy. I don't know what it was. And I was like, Dad, come on. We got to be healthier. And he points to the sriracha and goes, you smother everything with that. Who's unhealthy now? And I was like, Daddy, look at the nutrition facts on the back of this and tell me how many zeros you see there. All right, thanks. He was like, darn it.
Oh.
So that was really
Love
funny.
that.
That's like something my dad would do too. He'd be like, "Oh, well, you do this," and I'm like, "Dad, that's not unhealthy."
Also, I'm not you. So, like we said, we have to have the ahi tuna nachos every time we go. What are your must-haves when you go to Disney?
Starbucks is a must-have. It's not, of course, Disney focused, but I have to go to Starbucks. As a kid growing up, it was Rainforest Cafe. Like for me, it was downtown Disney, Rainforest Cafe. That means we have had a positive Disney trip, like no matter what.
That's awesome.
So while Rainforest Cafe is in other locations, it's really nostalgic for me to go there. I don't go every single time. During our honeymoon, we went to the Dinosaur instead of Rainforest Cafe, and even though the food quality is not the greatest, like it's just the atmosphere is so much fun.
How was
Oh,
T-Rex?
It was fun. It was goofy. It was fun. I mean, the atmosphere is cool. It's like the same exact menu, I feel like, from Rainforest Cafe. And actually, I take it back. We did eat at both. We ate at T-Rex the first night, and then when we were in Animal Kingdom, we ate at Rainforest Cafe. So it was just fun and nostalgic. So
Yeah, that's awesome. And you have those first memories there, so when you go back, it just kind of brings you back there, which is awesome.
yeah. And then another one that's kind of more nostalgic that we frequent is the Garden Grill. The Land is probably one of my favorite rides.
Us too.
And it's just so
Me
cool.
too.
I love it. Again, I feel like I'm really in nature when I go through that ride, and then I know that the restaurant has food from the ride that's very clean, very organic, has literally been made in-house.
Yeah,
So
like
just
literally from like start to
Yeah.
finish.
Yeah, so that is just really cool. And then not that I eat at these places every time, but very frequently. Love Morocco. The belly dancing is one of our favorite things to go watch, and part of my family is German, so we love the beer garden. So those are some of our frequents.
So, as you, sorry,
Amy just
I'm
learned how to
holding on,
talk
I'm
today.
holding on.
It's all good.
yeah.
She's
So
like
as you
Ariel. She
clearly
just
do
got
lots-
her voice, right?
Yeah. As you clearly do lots of planning around the food of your Disney trips to keep healthy, what are some healthy foods or meals you would like to start seeing in Disney, or healthy foods and meals that are already in Disney that you would like to see more consistently offered around the parks?
Such a great question. I think with some of the food trends that are going on, like the ketogenic diet, like the vegan and vegetarian, I think Disney is catching on, which is great. I don't prescribe to either of those, but I love that those options are you're seeing more of them in the parks, because again, it's just when usually with a vegan or vegetarian approach, you're going to see a lot more nutrient dense vegetable, plant-based foods. So I really enjoy seeing those. I love that Magic Kingdom now has a plant-based dining guide, I think that's super cool. Trust me, not everything on that menu is healthy, but there are more healthy options that are being pointed out because they are plant-based, meaning they are, they come from the ground, they're coming from plants, and so they're just less processed. So I'm looking for things that are less processed and that don't taste like they are just coated with sodium and high fat and high sugar, so that there's extra flavor. I want to taste my food.
Yeah.
If something's more towards that ketogenic side, generally in my mind I'm thinking, okay, yes, it might be higher fat, but I'm getting more protein from it. So again, we're looking for something that is not high fat, high carb, but more natural, more organic, more like give me the meat. So more of a paleo approach. And again, I don't follow that either. I'm very much a moderate to high carb, high protein, and moderate to low fat. And I'm kind of finding over time that now that my lifestyle is balancing out, not so bodybuilding focused and more of like long-term sustainability focus, that those macronutrients are evening out. So I love that those options are coming into the park. I love that when I ask the questions and say, hey, what are the modifications I can ask for? Can I get it this way or that way? I very rarely get feedback saying that something can't be done. So I think I would love to see just some more organic approaches. I would love to see more fresh fruits and vegetables around the parks. I know where the couple spots are, but to have those be even more readily available throughout the different parks. I know some people have a hard time finding the couple places where they're available. Honestly, I think there's just so much sugar that is in the parks, and it just kills me. Like, I don't like eating a lot of processed food. So for me, if I'm going to go get something indulgent, I want it to be something that was made fresh in a bakery. I don't want to go into, any random quote unquote Disney store and grab a packaged Rice Krispie treat. To me, I'm like, it's been processed. I don't know how long it's been sitting there. So I'd love to see more of a trend of less packaged product and more fresh product, whether it's healthier or it's just simply made more freshly.
Yeah, and it's not like there aren't enough bakeries around all of Disney where they could definitely do that. And I think something important that at least I've been doing is following, like, I know you mentioned keto, and there's a keto Disney group on Facebook, and there's a vegan Disney group on Facebook, and healthy Disney group on Facebook. So there are groups that you can join to learn more about all the healthy foods that they have in Disney, and that you're not alone, that you're not the only person going to Disney on one of these diets, and they're still having great food, and they're still enjoying themselves, and still experiencing all the Disney magic. So it's really cool to see those groups sort of evolve.
Oh, definitely. And that's something I like to highlight on this podcast as well. I have a couple podcasts that I've already recorded that I just need to edit and upload, but we've done an allergy group. So there's information about what are the different types of allergies that Disney caters to, and how can you make sure that if you're a kid or you have a special allergy, how do you make sure that you still have that magical vacation? I've talked to somebody.
I think I'm part of that group.
You might be.
So I think I'm part of that.
Which group?
Disney allergy group. I can't remember what it's called, but that sounds like an exact description.
Mm-hmm. So that I've talked to someone about vegan and vegetarian options. I'm looking into talking to somebody about the different keto options available. Paleo. I've talked to someone about paleo at Disney, so that's pretty cool. So I definitely want the Healthy Disney podcast and my content to be a place where if you're not sure, where to go, come to the Healthy Disney podcast and you can search for the different targeted items you're looking for, and that can put you in the direction for something a little bit more niche for you.
That's really awesome.
Thanks.
What would you like to see Disney change, offer, or do differently that would help guests trying to live a healthier lifestyle?
So I would love to see Disney push their activities and exercise options a little bit more. There's a ton of stuff that you can do at Disney outside of simply walking around the parks. And for some people, simply walking around the parks is a lot of extra exercise if they are very sedentary in their lifestyle. But for a lot of us that are active, simply walking around the parks is not counterbalancing the excess calories that we intake. I really think that, like, they have, Surrey bikes, and they have canoeing. They have a lot of, like, archery and a lot of outdoor activities that you can do at the different resorts They have beautiful gyms that I think people just either don't know about or don't care to know about because they're so focused on Disney, Disney, Disney. And I get it. If they're in the parks, they're spending money versus if they're in the hotel and they're at the gym, they've already paid for the hotel. So I understand that, but I think if people knew that they had a healthier approach and option, say people that are going to Orlando for a business conference or they just want to have a business meeting or something, more small plates, more of like, hey, you can come here and you can be a part of Disney without gaining 10 pounds, like letting people know that those possibilities are out there. I think they would be able to attract a larger clientele that would then enjoy the parks more if they didn't feel like, oh, Disney equals fair food, I'm gonna gain 10 pounds. So I think showing that Disney's open to different types of people that are, the parents who are there with the cheer squad who want to stay on top of their diet, but they also want to spend time with their kids in the park, and advertising the different restaurants. If you're just going for the parks for the first time and you haven't done your research, you might not be aware of the different table service restaurants. I wasn't aware of table service restaurants outside of those couple I mentioned earlier the first 22 years of my life. So I think those restaurants just aren't very well marketed. I mean, think about it. Walking past Skipper Canteen.
It doesn't even look like a restaurant.
It doesn't. You could walk by it and think it's a gift shop. So I think more marketing towards those things that will bring in a different audience would be great. And honestly, I think they would save money. I would think they would save food, cost on food, if they would just serve smaller portions of starchy carbohydrates. Holy cow.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you get at least 3 times as many starchy carbohydrates in every serving, and it's
because they're cheaper than proteins and vegetables.
I know, but your customers leave and they're lethargic and it's just, I feel like and I could be totally wrong, but I feel like my experience is more enhanced when I'm not overindulging on my portions. So that's what I would love to see, is just give us some smaller portions, decrease the cost because you've decreased the portion size, and everybody's going to be happy.
Yeah, definitely. And, it's really funny because I've told people about our Disney food podcast, and like you, they're like, wait, how can you talk about the Disney food? It's like corn dogs, hot dogs, and popcorn. And I'm like, au contraire, mon frere. You listen to our podcast and you will be pleasantly surprised.
Totally agree.
So you're not the only one who's grown up with that mindset.
Yeah, definitely not. And I think it's just like with all of the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge marketing, Disney really hasn't had to do much marketing ever. Influencers and Instagrammers and YouTubers, they're all doing the marketing for Disney. So Disney's not really controlling what's being marketed. They just know that whatever marketing is being done is like bringing a ton of people into the parks. Yep. Yeah. So.
All right. And I know we kind of went over basically all of this as we've been talking, but we definitely love hearing different perspectives about Disney planning. I'm a super crazy neurotic spreadsheeter, but how do you plan your Disney trips as someone who is health conscious?
Sure. Again, it depends on the goal, right? So it depends on what time of year I'm going. So if I was planning a trip right now, like the trip I had planned for May that's now going to be in the fall, my thought process, I literally sat down with paper and pen, or took pen to paper and was like, okay, where have I not eaten? What do I want to try next? And once I decided, okay, these are all the restaurants I have not eaten at before, when do I want to eat at them, and how can I get the reservations and spread them out accordingly to the dates that I'm going to be there? And then I look at what my workout routine, what do I want that to be? Do I want to work out at the same time every day, or do I want to fill my workouts in around my reservations? So I make sure that I'm planning in my nutrition, and I'm planning in my meals, and I'm planning in my workouts. So that's a non-negotiable factor when it comes to the planning. I'm a big calendar girl. Like, my calendar, there's little 30-minute time blocks, and so I fill that out every single block so that I know what I'm doing every single day. So I had my calendar filled out for that whole week of May, exactly what time I was going to eat, exactly when I was going to go to the gym, exactly when I was going to, edit things on the computer. I filled in the gaps, but it's all written down. Once I decided where I was going to eat based on, I haven't eaten here yet, so I need to try it so that I can review it, I started to look at the menus that are online. I started to watch a lot of the Disney food blog, YouTube videos, and kind of get a feel for what's at the different restaurants. There's a couple of different Disney podcasts, including yours, that I'll listen to and focus on the different restaurants. So it requires a lot of research, honestly. It doesn't happen in one morning or one afternoon. It happens, and I have to schedule in my time to kind of research it for sure. It's definitely worth working with an authorized Disney vacation planner if you feel overwhelmed. I like the planning aspect, so I do a lot of that myself. But I know enough about nutrition that I'm going to choose foods on the menu that are usually pretty lean and high in protein. I'm going to make sure I choose a fruit or a vegetable. I'm going to make sure that I am centering my meals around those things. Like, it's okay if there's a little dessert in there, but I'm going to make sure I have my lean protein source and my fruit and my vegetables throughout the day. So as long as I hit those things, I'm pretty good. I have a couple other non-negotiable things that I always bring with me. So I always bring my protein shakes. I always bring my vital proteins, collagen peptides that are unflavored that I can mix into things to make sure that I'm getting my collagen in, I'm keeping up my protein. And then the past couple months, it's been a non-negotiable to have my Prove It ketone supplement so that I'm getting my energy from the ketones and not focus so much on like, give me caffeine, give me caffeine, give me caffeine. So that's been really nice. And I will not go to Disney without those because they are a natural appetite suppressant. So it's going to help me to eat a little bit less while I'm there. So those are some of the things that I bring with me. If I was going to drive, I'd probably bring some meals with me or pick some up at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's from the Orlando area and keep them in my mini fridge. But I like to always have extra snacks with me so that if I do get hungry midday and I don't have a reservation scheduled, I'm not going to gravitate towards a snack stand or a cafe where I'm going to be tempted by something. I have something with me that I can eat first before I go to the indulgent option.
That's awesome. And then, so that covers how you make time to exercise because you schedule it in 15-minute increments. I gotta say, initially when we first started spreadsheeting Disney, I blocked it out by hour. Mm-hmm. And then our second trip, I was like, this is way too overwhelming. Like, we're not going to be in line for a fast pass for an hour here. So I actually have my spreadsheet broken down. Our spreadsheet, sorry, Amy. Let's be honest, it's mine.
Yes, it is.
Broken down into 15-minute increments from now 6 a.m. because that's when Galaxy's Edge is going to be opening until midnight.
Love it.
So yeah, but what is your workout routine?
Right now, I do 30 minutes a day of low intensity, steady state cardio. Most of the time, it's just walking on a treadmill. When I'm at Disney, that I consider exactly my walking around the parks. But I also, about 4 to 5 days a week, get in a 45 to 60-minute resistance training workout. So I'll hit biceps and triceps one day, maybe back and chest the next, shoulders, and then 1 or 2 leg days, just depending on the week. So if I'm going to Disney, a lot of times I will just kind of create my own workout on the go, and sometimes it'll be full body, sometimes it won't. The main thing is, hey, I'm getting in the gym and I'm doing something. I'm lifting weights for about 45 to 60 minutes, and then I feel good about it. When I was training for my bodybuilding show, I had a strict workout that I was following, but if I don't have anything specific, I just get in there and I make sure that I have something going on. So I try to make it very similar to what I'm doing at home. So I try to just not leave. Yeah, if that's what I'm doing at home, that's what I'm going to try to do when I'm at the parks.
Awesome. No, that's really great. And it's funny, I always say to Amy, hey, we're going to run every morning. We're going to get some exercise in. I'm going to do crunches in the room while you're getting ready. And
I would say the same things. And,
never happens. But this year,
Never.
this year actually, when I went out to Disneyland, it helped. So I did my 3 days in Disney California Adventure, and then I went to go visit my friend in San Diego who was actually training for a competition. So, I was hanging out with her, eating healthier, lots of really healthy snacks, going to
I
the
love
gym
San
with her.
Diego. I've competed there
So,
twice.
so yeah, San Diego's amazing. So we were actually talking the other night, and I was asked how much weight I gained on that trip, and I was like, I actually lost weight for once going to Disney.
There you go. There
So,
you go.
so
It
and
is possible.
I just
I
feel
regularly lose weight going to Disney. Thank you very
I
much.
just feel like
Nice.
I would have more energy too if I was, throwing a workout in first thing in the morning or, halfway through the day to just kind of like get those endorphins running and obviously work off the tons of food that we're going to be eating. All right, so we thought this last part would be a really fun experiment to see how well we know our Disney food. So we're going to ask Danny to describe a Disney meal to us, and we are going to try and guess what it is and from what restaurant. Danny, are
I know
you
I'm
ready?
trying to pull up a picture right now. That's what I've been doing. I'm like, okay, where's the picture of that meal that I want to try to go through?
All right.
Because there's so many. Oh my goodness.
All right, ready? Danny, are you ready to taste our test buds? Nope. What?
I think it goes the other way around.
I said that with like full confidence too, and then I was like, wait a minute, I don't think that sounded right. Test our taste buds. Test our taste buds. Test our taste buds. Okay. Danny, are you ready to test our taste buds?
I am so ready, and I'm currently pulling up a photo so I can remember.
Hold on, I'm gonna set a timer and see how long it takes us to guess, because that just seems really fun right now. Nope, not a timer. Stopwatch. Okay. So from when you start talking, I'm gonna set this timer, and we'll see how long it takes Amy and I to guess what food you're talking about.
Okay. All right, we're gonna give this a go and see how well it works. Oh, is it going?
Hold on, let me stop. All right, go.
Okay, this particular part of the meal has 3 components to it. They all have different flavors. They're on a rectangular shaped plate. One of the
Hold on, wait.
items...
Is it the dessert platter at Akershus?
Oh my god!
How is that? All right, that took me 20 seconds, and she didn't even finish describing it.
I didn't get past the plate. Oh my goodness. That's crazy. Anyway, for those of you who
we'll
don't know
let her
what's
finish
on that
describing
plate,
it for everybody else.
So there's three types of desserts on that plate, so it's good to share. But there's this chocolate like triangle pyramid of it's like
chocolate
a
mousse. Yes,
it's so good. That was my favorite part.
I'm obsessed with that rice pudding. Ugh.
Oh,
even that apple thing. You look at it and you're like, okay, apple muffin.
Yeah,
that's definitely
really
not going to be the best part of this. But with that little like dollop of whipped cream that's on top of it and the caramel drizzle, that whole dessert platter is just phenomenal.
Yep.
So
And I was so surprised about the rice pudding. I didn't think it was going to be great, but that.
Oh, I love rice.
And that rice
is
pudding is
really
so
good.
good because it kind of tastes like whipped creamy, and then it has the strawberry drizzle on it. It's just phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree.
So
that happens so fast. I'm like, maybe I should ask them about another one.
Well, I also feel like we've got some pretty pretty big shoes to fill with that one. I don't think we're ever going to be able to get a dish.
I know, that was really fast.
Again.
Okay, let's. Do you want to do one more real quick and see if you can get this one?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay. This plate has 2 items on it. I don't even know if you'll get this one. So there's a vegetable. And then there's a little metal tin that has a really savory southern home-cooked type of a meal in it. It's got a pastry crust, and there is a yellow-like substance in kind of a...
I mean, you could talk about what type of food it is. We're trying to guess what. We're trying to guess. Like, you could tell us it's macaroni and cheese or something.
Oh, yeah, well, if I tell you what it is, we're done for. It's chicken pot pie.
Oh yeah.
And there's green beans, and it's a quick service.
Is that at Columbia Harbor House?
It is, yeah.
That's what I was about to say too.
We haven't eaten
So-
there, but I was either gonna say that
I
when you
have.
said it had like a pastry crust, like that's what I was going for. I was thinking either like Liberty, what's it called?
Liberty Tree
Tavern, yes, or
Yeah.
Columbia Harbor House. So I guess
Yep.
we do know our food, even if we haven't eaten there.
Right? Y'all are pretty good. And I gotta say, the what is it? That dessert, I'm staring at it right now. It's the Boston cream pie from there.
I hear
Really,
that
really
is
good.
phenomenal. It's
I
hard
really
being
enjoyed
from
it.
Boston to order Boston cream pie from Florida, but
Yeah, I don't know how it compares, but
I
I
do-
liked what I had.
I do have to say that the lobster roll at Food and Wine was really good.
Mm.
But
I don't eat seafood, so I haven't tried it.
oh my gosh, so this has been so wonderful and it was so great talking with you. And if anybody wants to learn more about Healthy Disney or just being fit in general, where can everybody find you?
Absolutely. I would love to connect with everybody who's interested in Disney or fitness, food, and travel. And I'm really big on Instagram. That's where I like to hang out. So you can find me in two places, either at Dance Phillips or at Healthy Disney. So much like the podcast, I was like, okay, not everybody likes Disney, but they like fitness, food, and travel. So I need to make two separate Instagrams and two separate podcasts. So and Danny is spelled Danye, and then Phillips is Phillips. And then at Healthy Disney is all one word. Same thing for the podcast is the Healthy Disney Podcast, and then the Fitness Empowerment Podcast. And really, you can connect to all of those things at DannyPhillips.com. So those are the places. And then the book, you can also find the book on DannyPhillips.com, but it's available on Amazon, and you can also find it on Audible. You just have to search Healthy Disney, and it'll be the first thing that pops up. I am on the cover. You'll see me flexing with Pluto, so you can't miss it.
And we will post a picture of the book as well, along with the giveaway on our Instagram, which is at @1_little_spice. You will have to follow us. You'll have to follow at Healthy Disney, comment on us, and all the information about how to enter will be there. And some lucky listener will get a copy of this awesome book that she has written.
Definitely, and we'll be doing that giveaway on my end as well.
And then where can they listen to your podcast?
Ooh, it's available in a lot of places now. Let me pull it up real quick. Let's see.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that we're in like 12 other places than we are. So one episode, Amy was like, and we're on TuneIn, so you can say, hey, Alexa, play One Little Spice podcast. And then we thought it was hilarious if anybody was like listening to it around their Alexa, if their Alexa would start playing it.
So the Healthy Disney podcast is available on Anchor, Breaker, Overcast, Radio Public, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, and Spotify. Basically, if you follow me on Instagram, you can get to all of those links from Instagram. So all the places.
Now that you know where to find her, please make sure to follow Danny and both of her podcasts, and make sure you have a listen because she is awesome and she brings such a really bright and positive outlook on all things Disney and all things fitness. So it's definitely like a feel good. I feel like your podcasts are like feel good podcasts. You listen to them, you get energy. You're like, yeah, I really want to be fit, or yeah, I can do this. I can eat healthy in Disney, and it's just really awesome. So definitely check her out
Yay!
because she's great.
I love that. Like, energy is one of the biggest focuses within everything. And I was actually thinking about that today. I'm like, what is the purpose of everything? Like, what does it all boil down to? It all comes back to energy. Do you have the energy? Do you need the energy? Is that energy that you have allowing you to do whatever it is that you want to do with your life? Are you taking care of your family because you have your energy to do so? So I love that you said it's giving you energy. That makes me so happy.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love listening to you. You always put a smile on my face when I pull up one of your episodes.
Oh,
So the only thing that I really have to say about us that we have as far as news is concerned... Okay, actually, nope, I lied. I have lots of things to say. So as far as One Little Spice is concerned, we have our website that's kind of, sort of getting built and making its way up there. We finally have onelittlespice.com. You can also find us through like onelittlespicepodcast.com, but we finally have the domain One Little Spice after a year of patiently waiting for it to become available. So I'm so excited about that. But we posted our first recipe, which is the magic carpet egg rolls. They were inspired by the buffalo chicken spring rolls in Adventureland in Magic Kingdom, and they were created for the release of the release of Aladdin, hence magic carpet egg rolls. So that is our first recipe up on the website, so definitely head over and check that out as well. And I have officially started a new Disney podcast. It's called F Yeah Disney. It is an adult Disney podcast where me and my co-host Jason talk about literally everything that there is to talk about as far as Disney is concerned. It is certainly an adult podcast, so not kid friendly, but it is amazing, and our first episode actually came out this weekend. So if you want to check that out, you could follow us on Instagram. We are at FYeah_Disney, so you can find our first episode there, and it's going to be really awesome, and we have a lot of really good back and forth and give you all Disney news, and our first episode's about Star Wars World and all sorts of other fun stuff, so definitely check us out as well. Thank you so much, Danny, for coming on and being a guest on our podcast. I hope you had as much fun recording tonight as we did, and I can't wait for everybody to hear all of your amazing Disney insights.
Absolutely, Julie and Amy, thank you so much for having me on. It's fun to be on the other side, and I hope that everything that I've shared tonight can help somebody else take that next step on their health and fitness journey, and just to make that healthy Disney vacation a little bit more enjoyable and a little bit more guilt-free.
Awesome. It was so great talking to you. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in and listened to this episode. Just remember, every recipe starts with one little spice.
There's a little tiny you in the corner I'm enjoying.
There's a tiny you in the corner.
This is where the bloopers come in, at the very beginning.
Oh, absolutely.